Okay, so just to reiterate that we're talking about, I'm just kind of sharing some of the things that I've learned in the Embodied Sales course with Miroslav, and I wanted to share this with you all. And so if you're Monica, I don't know, are you still driving? Because you definitely cannot drive during this. So if anyone else is driving or operating heavy equipment, you can't do that. But you can come back to this because it's being recorded. So I'm just gonna lead you through this again. I have him in my ear, and then I'm just gonna like share how he shares it actually. And it's 15 minutes. And I will ask you to write something down, in this process as well. And I'm just gonna take a deep breath too, because I like these when you have technical difficulties, it's like, wow, you get all. So just maybe even take a deep breath with me. I just want to be here and land. Okay, and we start with breathing on this too, so. And this process goes slow. So at first, just close your eyes. And yeah, if you want to put your hand on your belly, 1 or 2 hands, you can do that. We're going to take 4 or 5 deep, slow breaths down into the belly. And just let your belly expand from the inside out. And then when we exhale, we breathe from the bottom of the belly up through the torso and the chest. So it's like you're filling a balloon from the bottom to the top with water. And when you get to the top, you hold for a moment. And then as you exhale, you let go. And do 4 or 5 at your own pace. So inhale from the bottom to the top. And pause at the bottom and the top of each breath as well. And just remind yourself to let go of any tension that you're feeling. And just be gentle with your body with each pause. And let the mind soften into the body. Inhale, pause, and exhale, pause, but go nice and slow. Soften any tension, relax your mind. Do a couple more breaths this way. Let there be a sense of warmth in you and around you, like you're having a warm bath. Just relax into that warmth. Keep yourself spacious and keep your eyes closed. And then I want you to notice what happens if you bring the concept of sales into the equation. So if you have a sales call coming up, or you think of somebody who you're ready to sell to, and think about notice the thoughts that might be coming up. Notice how your body might be responding to the idea of sales. We're just going to ramp up the intensity. So if it's a 1 or 2, we want to ramp it up to a 5 or 6. Like what's happening in your body. So if your relationship to sales could be like a metaphor. So if sales feels like climbing up a hill or facing a tiger or flying a kite in a windstorm, what kind of metaphor is coming to you? Sales feels like telling your kids to clean their room, like whatever it is for you. Let this be there. And let yourself stay in this feeling, but write it down. Write it on your paper and then Feel free to put it in the chat as well. Right, we're noticing what's happening at a deeper level, right? This is one of the things that makes it hard to have a sales conversation. And I don't know why I can't find the chat pod. It's funny. Oh, it's somewhere in here. There we go. Don't tell me what to buy. Yeah. So what kind of metaphor might come up? Like what kind of picture, what kind of scene might be coming up in your mind? Right? Like a kitten throwing a yarn ball around the room. Like what's the image, the imagery that you're seeing? I saw an image of the Mad Hatter in my mind, like a trickster. Yeah. Let this all be in the space. And this is a collective atmosphere. And now I want you to find your center. Find your center axis. And from this space, we're going to let the center of who you are create some space inside your being. And you're gonna really like allow that to take up more and more space inside of your body. The center of who you are, your true being, gets to take up more and more space, and it gets to push some of this other stuff away. And as you soften, you can let some of this energy actually come in and dissolve. So you're allowing it to come to you, some of this imagery, but you're letting it dissolve. You're letting it come into your central axis and to soften. You're not trying to change it. It's more like a sun on an ice cube. And you're allowing your presence to do what it naturally does. And you keep breathing. Any hard edges are starting to melt. Keep taking long, deep breaths. Let the mind soften into the body and let your presence do the work. And if it feels heavy or overwhelming at all, you just give your presence a little more space. Yeah, nicely done. We're just dissolving the gunk. So if sales feels like a cold winter, like you can create some imagery the opposite of that. So your presence, your central axis can become a warm fire. So you can also go in that direction. Let your central presence be the power within you. Just keep breathing. And allow that same central axis to go down through your body and down into the earth. Deep, deep into the earth. And let it be a sense of support for you. And then it goes all the way up through the crown as well. And this may have a form for you. If you have a relationship with the earth or with grace, it's okay. But just keep letting things soften as you breathe. Good work, you guys. And as you're breathing, allow the front of the body to soften as well. And feel free to touch it with your hands to register that softness. Keep on breathing. Yeah, 3 or 4 more breaths like this, where you're softening, you're receiving. And see if you can let this energy that we called sales move all the way through you, through your back body and out the back. Like Bruce Lee once said, be like water, my friends. Allow it to move through you, not resisting it, not fighting, not being afraid of it. And there can be a purification that happens in this process too. We'll do 4 or 5 more breaths like this. Keep breathing, keep softening. Just let the breath and the heart do its work. Don't try to mentally do anything. Just keep breathing, keep allowing your presence to be here, down through the earth and up through your crown. And, and from here, you're going to call in or inspire. What do you want your ideal relationship to sales to look like? You're going to envision that. You could create a metaphor, an image, and add intensity to that as well. Create an image around that, what you want your relationship to be like from your presence, from your heart. And doing sales feels like, allow yourself to finish that sentence. Go ahead and write that down. Sales gets to look and feel like. And as you breathe, let your body feel it. Allow yourself to soften into that. And you could just save writing that in the chat later. Just keep on breathing. Few more breaths here. And with each breath, allow it to be more vivid, more color, more emotion, more feeling. Notice how you get to feel about sales when this is your relationship to it. And how would this feel when this is fully integrated? When this is normalized for you? How will that feel for you? In your mind, in your body, when this becomes your new normal. Sales is fun, exciting, easy. Get a sense of that in your body. Allow that picture to be really, really vivid. And how would you act differently when that's your new norm? And just notice in sales conversations, how do you act differently when you feel this way, this new norm for yourself? Keep noticing this. And then also notice how this changes other areas of your life. So access to this feeling, how does this change things with your relationships, your family, your children, your neighbors, people in this business, your leads? How do you feel when you carry this with you all the time? We're unlocking an internal doorway, and it can really flood into all areas of our life where we get to have more confidence, where we get to say things that we want to say, but we're too afraid to, or we get to say them now. We get to be connected to our core. How does this change your relationships with your significant people in your life? Take 4 or 5 more breaths. Let this feeling move throughout the space around you, inside of you and around you, outside of your physical body, in your magnetic field. And then as you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and make a few notes. Spend a few minutes journaling. As you open your eyes, you come back here, just spend a few minutes journaling about your experience and your process and what sales gets to be for you. The experience that you get to have. And if anybody wants to share, you can just take yourself off mute. I found this to be such a powerful experience, a powerful meditation that we can always come back to, right? What we desire, what we want it to look like, and how we want to express ourselves in a sales conversation. Would anybody like to share, to go off mute and share?
I'll
Yeah.
share.
Oops, go ahead.
Go ahead, Monica.
It's kind of funny. So when in the beginning, when you said like, what would sales look like? What does sales look like for you now or feel like for you now? The picture that came in was like literally Alice in Wonderland, Mad Hatter, boom, right there. And I was like, oh, so just kind of observing like what, like the square hat, the structure, like very kind of like Matrix feeling, like constricted and like tricky, like, ooh, he's going to get me, that's the feeling that came through. And then as I started to call in like the opposite of that, then the visual that I got was this beautiful like lady of the lake. She had this this blue flowing gown. And so that was like, I was feeling that fabric move through my body. And then like the Cheshire cat, I don't know what's going on with Alice in Wonderland. Okay. But, and so there was like, the cat was like, all like purring, and I'm like, the softness of that cat was with me. And then when you took us to like, what could sales feel like? I don't know what the verbiage was, but and this is kind of funny. Just let me go here.
Yep.
The first like phrase that came into my mind was sex on the beach. And so, and you're like, and now intensify that. Like, you're like, over here. But like, it makes sense for for me at this point in my journey, you know.
Uh,
And so what came through was like sales equals pleasure.
yeah.
You know, that sales it gets to be pleasurable. That I get, and then when I started hearing unified field, and you're like, and then it gets to weave through your entire life. And so, you know, like that's the message to me is sales gets to be extremely pleasurable.
Love it. Oh my God, that's so good.
Thank you so much for that. That was
So
very
powerful.
cool.
Oh my God. Yes. And we can come into that at any point. And so I would love, I mean, there's 3 exercises to do. This was one of them. I've got 2 more. So I think I'm going to keep us moving on, just so we can get through them. But just to say, and to tag on to this, Monica, and a really overarching piece here is that for Miroslav, sales was his spiritual awakening. And I never thought of sales being that way, right? And we all have our own, journey with spirituality, right? And for many of us, like for me, my spiritual awakening came at my divorce. And it typically comes in a hard moment in our lives, right? When something's like falling apart, it's not working. You can't live another day in that way of being anymore. And so you come into the spiritual awakening. So Miroslav had selective mutism as a kid, meaning that he only talked with his family and closest friends, and he didn't talk outside of his home or without his closest friends. He didn't talk in his community. His teachers thought he was mute. He actually couldn't express himself. So for him, sales was his awakening, his great awakening. And also, so when you think about it, also sales is a space where we get to face a lot of hard things, right? From rejection to not fitting in, not belonging, all the limiting beliefs, somebody doesn't like me, our closest people think I'm a scammer, like all the things. And so I invite you to start looking at this as an awakening for you, right? That you get to face these things and look at them, and this meditation, feel free, I'll save this, I'll put this in our group, and you can come back to this, but even just that process of finding our center, welcoming in letting that get big and spacious, and welcoming in those hard things and those hard feelings, we can start to learn how to do that process ourselves, right? And not spend, it can even be done rather quickly. So, so just to kind of, bring that into this space as well, because I think it's so, so powerful to think of sales as a way for spiritual awakening, right? So, so the next exercise, it's called the how much is it exercise. And the rest of these can be done in pairs. These last 2 exercises can be done in pairs. And I'm just going to do this as an example here, but if you have an accountability buddy, I highly encourage you, which I always encourage people to have an accountability buddy. I really encourage you to integrate this for a period anyway to doing this, because this is part of what we're doing outside of class, is we're practicing these exercises. And they're the first one's super simple anyway. And so this first one is so much about like the resistance and the avoidance that we have around sales, and why we don't say the things that we know we should. And sales itself actually is about holding tension, right? There's tension that comes into the relationship. And what oftentimes happens is like we run, we fold, we go into fight. So we start to argue, or we start to oh, I've got to over talk them or talk faster. I've got to have power in the relationship. Or we flight, we run away, we shut down, or we freeze, we shut down. Or we don't say the things that we know we should say. That's the flight piece. So a big piece of what he teaches is about how to hold tension, and in a loving space. You can hold tension and still be in your center and still be true to yourself. I love this so much. It's so good. So, and we can also develop the capacity to hold more tension. And so, one of the ways to do this, so I'll need a volunteer and I'll just walk you through the exercise basically. So yeah, Bridget, Yes, you could be the volunteer. So, and I have to like remember who goes first here in this. So, okay, so you're going to be the customer.
Perfect.
So we're going to be, yeah, you're going to be the customer. And we're not going to go, this is not a technical conversation. This is not a technical conversation about sales. So I'm not going to like quiz you on how you know how to sell. This is much more about the tension that gets in your way. So as the customer, I'm basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, like, we're going to just pretend we've been through the sales process and we're at the point and you're like, oh yeah, this sounds really good. So I'm like, okay, great. This sounds like we're a really good fit. And then I'm going to tell you how much it costs to join the business. Cause this is like, money is a big thing, right? Like money is a place, money is not a big thing. I'm going to reframe that. Money is a place we hold a lot of tension, right? Money is a place where we have a lot of stuff, a lot of gunk behind it, right? So I'm going to give you a number about, in terms of what it costs to come into the community. And then we're just going to breathe. Like there's going to be, you get to have, so I'm going to like, yeah, I'm going to show you what it looks like basically. And then basically the exercise is to breathe through it. The exercise is to hold the tension for like 5 seconds. I actually try to do it for like 5 breaths, like, and you're just you're allowing your body to soften through that tension. It's kind of similar to the meditation, and that you're just allowing yourself to hold it. And so, or someone else is the client. So yeah. So are you ready? I'm just gonna,
Yes.
okay. So I'm the one that said, so I'm just gonna say, so it looks like you and I are a good fit to work together. And I'd like to take you to the next phase. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. I'm excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So the price to get started is $10,000.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of money. I don't know if I can do it. I think I'm gonna have to speak with my husband first.
Okay, that was great. So I'm the one that's actually holding the tension, right? Because she gets the shock, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm the one holding the tension. And you get to, so then this continues. So now we up the ante and we're going to do this again. But I'm going to double the number. So and I'm just going to say, oh, I think you're going to be a great fit to be in this community. So, and the cost is $20,000.
I know this is what I need, but I can't breathe. Oh my.
Okay, and this, for everybody here is for the benefit of all of you, right? Like this release is not just, for like me or for Bridget, like it's for all of you. And we're gonna do it again, and I'm gonna double it again. So, yeah, so
Did you want me to speak everything that's on my mind or no?
yeah, that's good. That's good. And then I'll say something about it afterwards. I think we should just continue with the exercise and then so yeah, it looks like we're a great fit to work together. I am sure that I can help you, Bridget. And the cost to start is $40,000.
I don't think it's possible. Oh my God. Can I ask you how you did that? How you were able to invest? I guess my question would be how to trust. I guess that's what the question is. To trust that it's gonna work and trust that it's gonna be beneficial. Because it's a whole, like it's a full year's salary. When you look at a job.
That was great, Bridget. Who can feel that? Like, who can feel that tension? Right? Like,
Yeah.
we get to hold that. Does anyone, do two other people want to try this here in the group?
Yeah, I think somebody else could try it. It's really worth it.
Yeah.
It's really triggering.
Yeah, and so here's the deal. You know, if you were to do this 3 to 5 times a week with a
Mhm.
partner, do you think you'd get better at sales conversations?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're used to holding the tension that other people come back with, right? And you can also ask for people to, like, you know, shift the intensity. Because so like it's funny because for me, what I've learned after doing this a few times is that when someone starts to laugh, that's the hardest thing for me to hold. I can hold someone crying, screaming at me, you know, saying ridiculous things, but if somebody laughs, I cannot hold that tension. So I see where my work is, right? And I see how I actually like process things that I'm afraid of too. Um, so who would like to, I would love to, like, just to support 2 people to do this exercise if you want to here live while we've got this group in the community. So Priya wants to, who else would like to do it? Diamond, yeah, yeah. So Priya, you guys can go off mute. Would you like to be the customer, Priya, or
Yeah,
the
totally. Because I'm going to have a sales conversation later, so this is going to be really good.
So if you, the harder position to be is the enagic person.
Mhm.
So do you want to be that person or do you want to be the customer?
Either way, I can be the enagic person if you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So Diamond as the customer, you just have some kind of reaction, you know, to her telling you the price. And yeah, Priya, you can just start by saying, you know, I think you would be a good fit, or I think you'd be great at this, and the price is whatever, and do it 3 times and double it each time.
Mhm.
And what you need to focus on is breathing, right? You're not trying to respond to her. I don't want you to say a word. I just want you to breathe and soften your front body is another piece to this too, is just like focus on softening your front body.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So, hey, Diamond, this is so awesome. I am so grateful you like this, and I think we're going to be an awesome fit. This is a great fit for you. So, the initial investment to come into our community is $10,000.
Well, I love everything that you said. I love everything about the community. I love everything about the water. I love everything about the compensation plan. But I can't come up with that money. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I feel like I'm in a stuck situation right here. But I understand all the logistics of the business and all, of the water. And I know I need that for my health, but I'm not sure how to do that. Or if I can do that. Hmm.
So good, Priya. So good, Diamond. Why don't you, yeah, do it again and then, double it.
So I'm really, really glad you like it and you like the masterclass. And I know you're going to be a great fit for our community. So the initial investment for the joining our community is $20,000.
I love the master class, and I know I need the water. I don't know how to come up with the money. I don't know. And that's a lot of money for me right now. I'm in a transition of traveling from one location to the other and setting up my homestead. And I'm not sure how I'm going to come up with the money.
Just keep breathing deep breaths. So good, you guys. Yeah, so do it again, Priya. One more time, doubling it.
So I love that you called me and you are so ready to start, and that you love the master class. So I know you're going to be an amazing fit in this business. So the initial cost for starting in our business is $45,000.
That's entirely impossible. It's entirely impossible. And not only the money, but I've never sold anything in my life. I'm not a salesman.
So good, you guys. So good.
And
Priya,
these were honestly my answers and my responses.
right, right. So Priya, what was that like for you?
So it was interesting because I was very comfortable because I have sold before, and I've sold programs, my own programs that didn't even exist for $20,000. And I was very comfortable saying it. And the moment I expected her to come back to me, and every time I was breathing out, I was visualizing her as, you already have this abundance. I hold you in seeing you in this abundance. I know this is entirely you. This is it's just a blockage, but I see you abundant. I see that this is your abundance. This is your birthright. So I was holding her just in this vision that she feels my care, my love.
I love that.
And on my end, I was anticipating a solution. I was ready for Priya to come back and tell me just how I can do it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And that is part of it eventually, but there is this power in the pause, right?
Yeah.
The power, because the customer, for us to support them in integrating this big information, there is power in that, because if we just like gloss over it, we start with solution, they've never really integrated the shock or the surprise or whatever it is for them. And so then they can get stuck in that and then move forward. So when we give this little pause, it allows this integration to happen. And it makes the relationship actually just more loving and kind, actually, versus like, I've got the solution for you and here's what you have to do. It's giving them nurturing and loving space.
Yeah. Holding that space for sure.
Yeah.
And in that space, it gave me time to think about and see myself doing the business, having the water, having the community.
Interesting. Nice.
So I was already feeling myself. And once we get a person in front of us to that point to where they're going to listen beyond, the first initial contact, we have another call. They're at that point, and that pause gave me time to visualize myself doing this.
I love it.
Doing it.
That's amazing. That's so great to hear that, get that feedback. Incredible. All right. So thank you both for doing that powerful exercise, and for Bridget
Thank
too. Like,
you.
super, super powerful.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we have one more. He calls this Russian roulette. But so the first thing is that I want you to write down. So just, this is a short journaling exercise. But just close your eyes and think about sales, and what is the worst, most painful thing that somebody could say to you in that sales process? Or what are the, that could be words, or it could be an expression on their face too. What's the worst thing you're most afraid of somebody saying to you? So, like, is this a scam? Or are you in a cult? Gosh, you're just using your community to take money from them. You're so fake. You don't look like you're making any money. Have you made a sale? Doesn't look like you've made a sale. This is never going to work for you. You aren't a leader. What is it that is your biggest fear of what somebody would say back to you? And I want you to write this down. So, and basically what happens to us is that when we're afraid to receive, like, our subconscious knows that we're afraid to receive a certain communication, right? A certain type of communication. So our mind does everything it possibly can do to avoid meeting that in our body. And that's one reason why we avoid certain things in sales conversations. So we don't ask for the money because we don't want to face the rejection. We want to feel that in our body. So, or whatever that is for you, right? So I am going to need another volunteer for this. And this is another thing you can do as a pair. But you also have to know how to hold space. I just want to say that, like, it's really important you know how to hold space for the other person. And this can get quite intense too, just so you know. So I would love a volunteer for this. Sheeta, yay. Yes, yes. Okay. So, what is the biggest fear that you have someone saying to you?
To be honest, I was really trying to think, and I'm like, I mean, I suppose one of the things maybe you said there was, is it a scam? But I mean, to be honest, none of that. I don't feel fear from any of that. I would just, I don't know. I didn't really have fear, but I guess maybe saying it's a scam, you know.
Okay, well, we can
But
explore it.
yeah,
We can explore it. So, so the way this works basically, is that, so I know what it is, and I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna actually say that to you. And so if you're doing this exercise with somebody else, that's basically what the exercise is that you, one of the ways he explained is that you throw insults at each other. And he did this with another friend of his. It was two guys, and he's since refined it to be a more therapeutic practice, I think. But it's to get used to that, right? To get used to somebody saying something to you that you're afraid of, similar to the previous exercise. But actually, so after I were to say like an insult to you, then I immediately shift into a loving presence. And then we breathe together. And you share anything that comes up for you regarding that insult.
okay.
So it's basically how it works. So, all right. So, geez, Sheena, is this a scam?
What makes you think it's a scam?
Well, you don't need to respond to me. I just want
All
you
right, okay.
to share what's going on internally for you. So we're not going through a sales process. We're going through an internal process.
Okay, well, I would say that because Wolfgang said that to me, whenever I was trying to explain it to him.
But
And
stay in
obviously,
the moment. Stay in the moment here. Like, right?
Here.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like, so is this like, my God, is this a scam, Sheena?
I guess I feel my heart increase.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then it's like, well, I don't really know what to, what to say to that, except just to, to try and quantify what,
And we're not trying
Yeah.
to like
Okay.
give a rebuttal. We're just experiencing that in our body. So I
Yeah.
want you to like breathe into your heart.
Yeah, my heart increased. And I guess it probably
What does that mean? Your heart increased.
like a shock wave,
Uh-huh.
like
So,
like an anger, actually, like an anger.
okay. So breathe into your heart. Just breathe into your heart. And actually like let it soften if you can. And are you noticing any kind of changes?
I feel nothing.
Meaning that you don't feel that anymore in your heart?
Yeah, no.
How did that shift for you?
I guess but it's really funny. It's like I'm going up to my head, down to my heart, up to my head, down to my heart. It's really kind of funny because just like what you did before was like I'm so into solution mode and clarifying and with my brain that to
Uh-huh.
stay in my heart is to stay in my heart while communicating with somebody else. I'm not sure I do.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So when you feel so yeah, this is an embodied experience, right? This is about embodied sales. And if we're only in our head, that person can't feel us,
No. Yeah.
right? And so we actually have a lot more impact in the world when people can feel us.
Mm.
So share a little bit more. So when you said I feel nothing, what does that mean?
Well, I feel open.
Okay.
Yeah, just open, like an open nothingness.
Okay.
But what you've made me aware of is that I'm most likely in my head every time I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm not in my heart. Because I couldn't, when you said get back into your heart, and I was like, back up in my head. It's like back into your heart, get back.
Sure.
Oh, I'm in my head.
Sure. That's big. That's really big.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I didn't know I did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this could be a really powerful experience for you, actually, even though, like, to me, it sounds like you've logically figured out how to counteract what anyone says.
Yeah.
But that's disconnected from your body. And so if you can do practices around this like this and the other one too, but like there's all kinds of ways, directions you can take this, but like you can learn how to connect these two. Right? So that it's not just giving somebody because you're smart and like you could logically have powerful conversations.
Yeah.
But if we're disconnected from our body when we're doing that, then we're not nearly as powerful as we can be.
No, I see that.
We're
Yeah.
not nearly as like nurturing and impactful as we can be.
Nurturing. Yeah, I guess that's something I'm learning. Nurturing. Yeah.
Yeah. And sales
Mhm.
can be very nurturing, right? If we're serving people, it's very nurturing.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I
beautiful,
hadn't seen that before. Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we want to do one more? Does someone else want to do one? Bridget, do you want to go? Is that okay? Yeah.
So if you're saying anything that would be related to my integrity, I would have a reaction to.
Okay.
Or,
Okay. Is there anything specific or just like that's a wide?
oh, it gets me going.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
do you want me to say how I'm feeling, or you just want me to be in the present moment?
Well, I can guide you. So I
Okay.
just want you to be in the present moment and notice how your body is responding. That's the best. Yeah. And then I can guide you. So bye, Monica. Um, okay, um, so are you kidding me? So you're taking money from people and it goes in your pocket? Yeah, how are you feeling?
How am I feeling? Well, right away I went like
Yep.
in the heart space, like right away. It's just
Yep.
like you're, and I wanted to reply immediately when you said something. And I just said, breathe, just
Yep.
breathe.
Just
Like,
breathe. Just keep
don't,
breathing.
yeah, don't speak.
Yep. How is your heart feeling?
It's coming down slowly.
Uh-huh. So why don't you also try, I mean, notice that the person who is saying this, like if I'm saying something like that, it's really about my own limitations that I've experienced, my own pain that I haven't healed.
Mhm.
Can you have compassion for that? Because in the moment, we don't always have compassion for that.
No, no.
It's okay if you don't. Keep on breathing. Just keep taking deep breaths. And in the place that you feel that, you can actually create space around it too.
And now I'm back in my body. No, I'm
Okay.
back.
Yeah.
Like I feel, I just went, I'm back.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Take some deep breaths. Yeah. One of the other, another couple things that you can do, because we just don't have a ton of time to do all this,
Yeah.
but you can actually move your body a little bit during that process
Yeah.
too, because that helps things to move.
Mhm.
And then, and you can also think of it as if it's an arrow, like someone just like shot an arrow at you, like, oh my God, it's sharp, it's hard. What we tend to do as humans, we tend to grab a hold of that arrow.
Yeah.
But we can actually visualize the arrow going through, like soften our back body
Yeah.
and let the arrow go all the way through. And there it goes. It just went through us. We're not holding on to it.
Mhm.
So you can also visualize that piece as well.
Mhm. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on my mind, I wanted to reply immediately when you said that
Yeah.
to me. So I
Yeah.
said, don't. And as I was like go processing, I was thinking, how could I find a way to speak my truth with compassion rather than the attack, like the way I was going to reply. Like it was like
Yeah.
immediate when you said it. I was like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, breathe,
Yeah, exactly.
and then wait, and then
And
or
the
because
more we, oh, go ahead.
I figure we need a reply back, but
Yeah.
but in a compassionate way, not in a
Fight way.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super powerful.
Yeah.
And as we practice this more and more, we get better at it, right? We're like, oh my God, the feelings like all that tightness, the feeling that we learn to just come back to our center
Mhm.
and let go and have that compassion and really support them in a beautiful way. So, so good, you guys. I love it. So that was a lot in an hour. um, drink water, breathe, integrate. Feel free. I highly encourage you to like get an accountability partner and practice these things. This will really help you have like such a deeper sense of like connection with people and more embodied sales, right? to be more embodied in this process. So, anyone want to share a takeaway or two from, you know, a few takeaways just before we close off the call? Love to hear that.
I'd like to share something that came up for me, and that was so profound. I think I really had like a spiritual awakening. Because when we were doing the first exercise, I was like, I don't have a problem with selling. That's not what it is. But there was something holding me back. And suddenly I really got this total profound thing that I have been letting myself be emotionally manipulated my whole life by people that are just talking me to the ground with their like, until I gave in, until I was like, I was so with my back to the wall that in order to get out of it, the only way to do it was to say like, okay, I do it. Just let go of me.
Let me
If
go.
somebody attacks me so badly that at the end I'm just on the ground or crying and saying like, anything you do, but just let me go, let me go, let me go.
Yep.
And I felt this in my body so intensely that this innocence that I have inside of me, you know, that we all have in a way, I have no armor for that. And so I felt like in the sales process, that's where I have really let myself be talked into things that I didn't, just to get out of it.
Wow.
You know, to just like, and it was such a profound realization. And so for me, it's like it brought up like my heart. I was starting to sweat, you know, I felt this total panic coming over me when you did the first exercise. And
Wow.
so that was something for me where I could shift that around afterwards.
Yep.
But it was such a big realization. And I want to thank you for that, because that was really something that's gone through a lot of relationships, especially sales or not, because we're all selling ourselves or people sell themselves to us.
Yep.
And that was really powerful for me to realize that and go like, wow, that's what I would be the most afraid of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing, Priya. Thank you for sharing that.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one as a woman.
Yeah, I feel that as a collective, actually. Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Yeah, it was powerful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? One other person wants to share something?
Well, I guess it was just what I'd said before. I was just like realizing, you know, not being in my heart. But I did recognize that yesterday was something. And then so it's just brought it to mind again, you know, and practicing that embodiment and practicing that coming from my heart and not from my smart ass answers from my head.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. If there's, you know, as more stuff comes out, I'm really happy to share it here, but I think this was super powerful, and I will definitely put this in Together We Rise Facebook group as well, if you want to go through it again. But I encourage you to partner up with people and practice this more, right? All right. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.